But to look your enemy in the eye, knowing you'll remember his face for the rest of your life, now that takes a stomach much stronger than you'll ever have.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gull Survives, and indeed, welcome to Tupari. No, welcome to Dawn of the Reapers. We are taking a very slightly early look. It's a day before the scheduled release of it, and joining me is Lord Set and Sundered Echo, two of the creators of this wonderful mod. Hey guys.
Howdy.
And
Hey.
It looks like we've got a lot of stuff going on here. We're going to talk about it during the course of this, but I'm going to be playing as the Systems Alliance, which is, they're an all-new race, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And hey, look up here. Lord Set is playing as the Mercs, which again is an all-new race. And Sundered Echo is playing as the Council races, which quite looking forward to seeing the Rave Alive ship. Or Rhea. But let's rock and roll, shall we? Should we get into the game and then we'll just talk about anything that you guys fancy talking about?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Here we go.
Oh, isn't this nice? I like the codex entries. Very nice.
Yeah, we've kind of redone the UI and the look of everything.
You have, and was there a specific Mass Effect that you kind of really wanted to go for from a feeling point of view? I know they're all quite similar, but kind of there were subtle changes between 1, 2, and 3, weren't there?
Well, we actually went with the aesthetic UI design of Andromeda, just because it was a little more streamlined, a little more minimalistic,
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier to replicate.
Ah. It does look nice. It's a bit less colourful, I think, than perhaps some of your previous iterations. A little bit more subtle, if you will.
Yeah. Well, again, because it's that more minimalistic feel, which I feel suits the UI for the game more than being large, colorful, and clunky.
Okay, looks like the first thing I can get is is that an Everest? Yes. Ooh. Let's have a couple of those. Maybe get a few Hastings heavy frigates. It's a nice name, I like that one. Being a Brit, I would.
Reporting.
There's also the Agincourt light frigate.
Heavy frigate reporting as
Yeah,
requested,
by the
sir.
request of one of our, the Scottish?
Heavy
Is it
frigate
Scottish?
reporting.
Scottish
Yes.
testers? Yeah.
Okay,
Heavy
so I'm
frigate
probably going to be asking a
reporting as
load of
requested,
questions
sir.
throughout the course of this. Randomly.
fine.
Now,
Heavy frigate
one thing I
reporting.
do note, I think that was present in your last build, there was a ring that you often placed around your planets. Is
We're
that something
try-
that you've continued to
we're
make use
trying
of?
to- Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if it's something that you've continued to make use of.
We're trying to figure out a way to include it where it doesn't become overly clunky on the menu itself, because a lot of times it interferes with a lot of the pictures that our fans like to take. So we decided to do a release without it to see what the response would be.
I see, I'm with you. And from an economy perspective, is this something that standard Sins players, if you like, are going to understand, or is there some major changes that I should make them aware of?
They'll understand the Systems Alliance, Cerberus, and the Council. However, the Mercs and the Reapers have some pretty significant differences when it comes to economy.
I'm with you. I really like that fade out of the planetary readouts. Beautiful.
Engines at full.
Yeah, we're working in a secondary stat system into the ship pictures because we found we could change it with a cursor over. The Systems Alliance hasn't had their stats input yet, but if you do hover over the picture, the ship disappears.
I see.
Because that's where the stat goes. We've started implementing them on Cerberus and the Mercs, but it's a very time-consuming measure.
Looks like the ships are a hell of a lot sharper than they were before as well.
Yeah,
Well, Seth spent a lot of time improving all of the visuals on all the ships.
They're looking very nice. And it looks like you've got
There's
unique
some-
skins for the militia as well.
Oh yeah, so the funny thing with the militia, they're actually why we have the Merc faction in the first place. We were looking at the militia in the old build, which used to just be a couple of random Merc ships working together for no apparent reason. And we decided that was silly. And then we thought, we'll make all of the individual merc groups and give them all custom ships and everything. And then I realized, this is going to be a lot of ships. We could make a faction out of this.
Very
and
nice.
put that to Set, and he agreed. So now we have the merc faction and lots of varied militias.
Yeah, it was a chance to do kind of like a darker side to the council, because it's honestly how they play. The ship composition tends to be somewhat similar to the council with different and unique abilities and skins, but the gameplay style is exactly what you would expect it. It's like flipping the council on its head. Instead of emphasizing diplomacy, it's drugs and arms sales. So it tends to play almost like a mirror to the council.
I'm with you.
Normandy class standing by.
Okay, would I be right in thinking the Normandy SR1 classes are your scouts?
Yes.
Correct.
Excellent. Off you go, Normandy.
And they also have a stealth ability that I would recommend turning on.
It should be on by autocast. By default.
It is, yeah. Normandy stealth is autocast.
Told you we'd be here in no time.
Yeah. So stealth ships are a fairly major element in this. As you may notice, they're quite expensive.
Yes.
So you can't just spam scouts. We're not having our game crashed by 200,000 scouts.
You say that now. Where there's a will, my friend, there is a way. There's always a way.
If somebody wants to build that many Normandies, they are welcome to.
It'd be more impressive if they had the economy to actually do it.
Yeah. But anyway, the stealth ships quite often have reasonable weapons and various disruption type abilities to impact the enemy's economy. Now, stealth ships are definitely going to take a lot of balancing. I'm quite aware of that. But I'm hoping to make them quite impactful, because they were in the lore.
Okay. I noticed when looking at the leadership screen that you've got going on here that we have Joker. Now, let's see what Joker does over here.
Now, the heroes are not yet implemented.
Oh, cancel that. I want my money back.
Yeah, we were trying to get Shepard in at least for this release, but there just wasn't time to
That's okay.
the ship.
Right, let's take a look and see what else I might be able to grab.
But as you can see on the leadership tree, the Alliance has quite a few heroes.
Yes, I see that. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got something like 16 thereabouts, is it? 1, 2.
They won't all be in ships. We've split the characters of Mass Effect into two
yes, I
categories.
see. I see that you've got some economic variants. Like, just as an example here, I see Kazumi, and she does sale to credit conversion. So what a sale to credit conversion, for those of you who don't know the Code of Sins or haven't played it that regularly, sale to credit conversion. Anytime somebody effectively makes a purchase on the black market, you get a kickback as a result of that. If I'm right.
Yes. So, as I was saying, we have tech tree heroes and heroes that will be in ships. Kasumi is an example of
You need us to be somewhere quick, Commander.
a tech tree hero involved in any space
Allied
battles or
forces are
anything.
under attack.
But she is quite impactful. So we felt, in order to capture the Mass Effect feel, which did have a lot of very impressive people,
Normandy class
that we should
standing
do
by.
tech tree heroes to get them
Colonizable planet
in some
detected.
way. Different factions have different numbers of them.
Frigate reporting.
The Alliance and the Council have quite a
Yeah,
few.
we just
whereas
powered up
Cerberus doesn't have
all
very many
6
more.
cylinders.
But I'm
It's not a
rambling.
big engine, okay?
The other one is, of course, the ship heroes. Now, anybody familiar with STA3 will
Let me guess.
have
Somebody stole your
something
sweet
of an
roll.
understanding for how it's going to work. Although
I can
we
bill
are
you
not
for
going to
that,
have them
right?
respawning if they die.
I see. So it's a one shot.
Yeah, so they'll be quite
Colonizable
powerful
planet
and they will be
detected.
quite hard to kill, especially if you're microing them.
Getting ready for FPL.
But if they do die, that's it. They're dead.
You've scruffed it. Let's take a look at this version.
A custom particle effect and sound planned for if Shepard from Normandy dies. It's the mission critical failure.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I think that was something that was used previously, wasn't it?
Yeah, we actually came up with the idea. Yeah, we actually came up with the idea when we were doing. Me and a couple of old teammates were doing a playthrough with you. I think about like 2 or 3 years ago.
Heavy frigate reporting. Opening fire on hostile vessel.
Take that, Talons. Stop shooting my cap ship.
Fire all the guns. All the
Combat is
guns.
quite positional in this. It has certain elements of the
Heavy
Alpha Strike
frigate
from
reporting.
large spinal guns, similar to Halo.
Relocating vessel
But
now.
It's a bit slower and there's a bit more focus on range control and having or knowing whether your ship has broadsides or not, for example.
I'm with you.
So a lot of the Cerberus and Alliance ships have very heavy broadsides and do quite well if they get put into the middle of a big brawl, whereas the Council has a lot more forward firepower, but not so much in the broadside.
There we go. I just had to turn you up a little bit because it turns out you're a little bit quieter than I thought you were. So if you could kindly scream into the mic.
Heavy frigate receiving your transmission.
Dreadnought der Everest-Klasse meldet sich zum Dienst.
Okay, the Everest has leveled. Lovely. And I now have some Hastings, and they are accompanied by some little Agincores. Are they anti-fighter?
Heavy frigate
Yeah, so the
receiving your
Agincore is a
transmission.
laser frigate. Lasers are very short-ranged in Mass Effect, and they are very effective against fighters. However, they are also quite unique because in Mass Effect the shields are kinetic barriers. They only work against kinetic attacks, and lasers are an energy weapon. So the lasers will actually bypass your shields, but they don't do a lot of hull damage to larger ships.
Engines at full.
I
So
see.
overall, that leaves the Agincore and other laser frigates like that in a good position to destroy enemy frigates and fighters, but they will not really get very far against dreadnoughts, for example.
Now, just one thing that I've noticed is, am I correct in thinking that when you colonize a planet with one of your little colony ships, which are, they're Quarian, aren't they?
No.
Heavy
The
frigate
Athabasca
reporting
is a
as
standard
requested,
colony
sir.
frigate, which
The-
just lands and
Heavy
deploys.
frigate reporting as
The icon
requested,
might still
sir.
be Quarian. Some of the UI is still work in progress.
Ah, you're Quarian.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not Quarian. They actually, they now disappear, if you will.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's in on that specific ship, but they will actually fly down to the surface.
Ooh, I'll keep an eye on it
Watch them do
when I have a look now.
Very mad.
And this is something I've implemented for a number of different units.
I like it.
Including the Normandy when it lands in sevens on a planet. Although the Normandy will come back after that. But in the case of transports, they'll fly down and they'll land and usually be integrated into the colony. That's it for that transport.
Colonizable planet detected.
We've also, or at least I have, from my perspective, made the UI very macro friendly. So when you want to play on a larger scale, it's much easier to get more information quicker. So if you zoom out and you take a look at your planets, right? If you hover over them, you can see exactly what planet type they are without having to look at a stat card.
I see that. I quite like that.
And then we changed the warning images on the right-hand side of the bottom of the UI to display information on a rather much larger scale than what Sins is normally accustomed to doing. There are some overlapping issues just because certain notifications take priority, but they all default to the empty screen, so when they pop up, they're not overlapping each
Heavy
other.
frigate reporting as requested, sir.
Oh my, those laser ships are quite effective when they want to, aren't they?
Down fire.
Yeah, they'll rip through fighters.
Oh, hello. What's this?
Echo, you best beware.
Why?
Well, alliances are locked. You don't have to worry about me coming after you, but I just got the limited infighting.
Research complete.
So, Lord Set is referring to something that
Colonizable planet detected.
the mercs have, and that is the ability to ignore
Everest class has
the
established
militias
their presence.
after a certain research.
I
they
see.
can get very aggressive very early.
Because their entire economy is based on
Beat to quarter.
sticking it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be aggressive early as well. They will they'll suffer quite badly economically if they're not on the attack.
Triple 8 accelerator wird abgefeuert.
That's good to know. So they need to colonize a lot of planets in order to get themselves onto an even keel.
It's not even that. A large portion of their income will come from salvage from destroyed ships that they destroy.
Research complete.
I see.
So it forces them into hyper-aggression in order to maintain a stable economy.
Heavy frigate, reporting as requested, sir.
Now, one thing that I have noted, which is a very slight thing, and I think it's something that we've suffered from in the past, is you do very occasionally get the old infinite chase, don't you?
Yes.
I've come up with a couple of solutions with that. We'll talk about after the stream. One is applying a passive buff to all planets, which basically has a rebound box that rebounds your ships back in towards the planet if they reach a certain distance from around the planet. And the other one is to make all the other ships, which are the militia ships, if you like, is to make them slower. So have a unique version that's slower than your ships.
Yeah. I might do something like that eventually with the militia ships, but for the moment,
Triple 8
they're using the same
accelerator
ships that the
wird
mercs use,
abgefeuert.
just for expediency.
Blood pack.
So
You ran into the blood pack.
Oh yeah,
Good luck with
they
that.
can be pretty nasty.
everything will be
I
fine.
ran into a tropical garden world. Garden worlds always have very large militias and a lot of eclipse ships, and my Turians are limping back home now. It's intense.
Everest class has established their presence.
Ooh, Geneva cruisers, Berlin heavy frigates.
What was that last one?
reporting.
Research complete.
I'm sorry. What did you say the last ship was?
Better not be Reapers there.
Berlin heavy frigates.
I honestly have no idea what that is.
I can't see it at the moment. I'll let you know shortly. They're a militia.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We told the fans a long time ago we wouldn't include the Berlin, so it's obviously not in there.
What could the Berlin possibly be? Find out tomorrow.
It's not in there. They just found out now.
It's not there. There isn't one.
Initiating FTL preparations. Please stand by.
I'm liking the diplomacy screen. Probably shouldn't have clicked on that.
Oh yeah. That one came in very recently, so we still haven't got the art in for the
Laying down
buttons yet.
fire.
Who's doing most of the 2D art?
I am.
Oh, blimey. And the 3D art?
Triple 8
I am.
accelerator wird abgefeuert.
Is there anything that Set can't do?
Yeah. Abilities.
That's me.
You're not alone. I can't do them very well either. It took me. We did an AOTF live stream the other day, and now traditionally I'm not the one that does that. But unfortunately, Bane's fairly recently left the team, so it's kind of left me in a position where I have to
Planet detected.
start doing abilities, and it took me about 45 minutes to do a single ability. I was most embarrassed.
Triple 8 accelerator
Yeah.
wird
When I
abgefeuert.
started, it was like that as well.
We Echo hates Titans. Titan abilities.
Oh, because you need multiple files in order to make a Titan. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you put something in the wrong spot, then it goes mental and crashes the game. Yeah, it's great fun.
All right. Well, now I get to expand extremely quickly.
Kowloon class reporting.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so that is one of the benefits of making them neutrals
Colonizable
friendly
planet detected.
as the mercs. You can just grab all the planets and
Yeah.
essentially use them as your defense.
Yeah, you no
That
longer get
said-
stuck.
They don't have a traditional defense at all.
Additional planetary upgrades are required. Planet colonies.
Their traditional defense is getting stopped by your friendly militias.
Right, let's see what we can get here. Okay, trainable modernization program. Yeah, Geneva Cruiser, we'll take one of those. Yeah, we'll take a bit of that. Oh, 5 levels, okay. 5 levels on this too.
Yeah, for the Alliance, I wanted to have a lot of small incremental
Planetary
increases in the
upgrade.
tech tree. And that is an example of them.
And I note that you've got incremental upkeep on various technologies as well, which I think is quite an interesting way of going about it.
Yeah, we got rid of the traditional Sins fleet tech tree entirely, as you may have noticed.
Yes, I did.
And
That
quite
is
often
what has become the well, it's probably the leadership tree now, but it's the other side of it.
the order of them is also quite different and varies between the factions. Some factions get their fleet cap off of military labs, others off of civilian labs.
Heavy frigate reporting.
Diplomacy is usually the one that goes where the fleet tree used to be, but not always. We really tried to change up the research quite a bit from the start.
It's looking good. I quite like those incremental increases. I think that is an unusual way of going about it, and
Entering contact zone.
probably quite contextually good because it forces you to make a decision as to whether you want this right now or perhaps you can leave it till later. It's clever.
Yeah, I'm quite
Attacking
fond of
designated
hard
target.
choices in game design and strategy games. So that's largely my influence, but also the influence of Mass Effect as a whole. Because Mass Effect, you make a lot of choices.
Who to leave on Vermeer, who not to leave on Vermeer.
We know what. Well, no, not everybody knows what Lord Set thinks about who
No,
should
you
be left on
you
Vermeer.
always leave Caden on Vermeer. That's a stellar consistent that happens throughout the universe for the rest of time. Caden is always left on Vermeer.
Alliance colony ship is standing
I'm actually
by.
delighted to know that.
There had better not be
I
rumors
personally,
that-
it's not even really like BioWare's fault that I didn't like Caden. It's just I was really into Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and the same voice actor who does Caden does Carth Onassi, or as I like to call him, Space Dad.
Additional
Um,
research required.
And it's just anytime I had a choice to make, Carth Onassi was always second guessing me, and I'm just like, you know what, Carth? I heard the voice actor in Mass Effect 1, and I knew from that moment I was going to kill his character at some point along the way. I don't care if it took me 1 game or 3 games, I was going to end up killing him.
Oh, that's terrible.
And of course, for those out there,
Additional research is
and there are some,
Yeah.
who hate all of the characters and wish they could leave them all on Vermeer. Vermeer will be featuring on canon maps, and you can get them as heroes and send them to Vermeer,
Yeah,
and presumably get them killed in some
Heading to
fashion.
targeted
yeah,
system.
on Vermeer.
I notice we've also got an interesting choice to make fairly quickly on. After repercussions, you can either choose to become, well, you can choose one of 2 ways, can't you? You can either, let's take a look, save the Ascension, the Destiny Ascension, excuse me, or you can preserve the fleet and not save it. I quite like that. I've chosen not to save it.
Well, good thing I'm getting the Destiny Ascension then, isn't
Kowloon
it?
class reporting.
I mean, when you say good,
My faction doesn't even really need a Titan.
Alright, rub it in.
So yeah, most of our factions have a choice like that, and in fact Cerberus actually has 3 different sub-factions you can choose between. The Systems Alliance choice is the least
Planetary upgrade.
game-changing, because the Systems Alliance is in part designed to be a beginner-friendly faction, although with a high skill cap, so you can still play them as your main faction and do well.
Planet colonized.
So yeah, they don't have as
Allied
many
forces are
drawbacks
under
on
attack.
choices as some of the other choices have. One of the things we found with Sim was that it's very easy to accidentally pick a faction that really doesn't suit you.
Alliance vessel reporting.
And we wanted to avoid that with the Systems Alliance.
Uh-oh.
I will not take an arrow to the knee.
I will not take an arrow to... Really?
These voice lines were done in 2013. Skyrim was still cool.
Oh my, I used to be an adventurer too.
Yeah.
Everest class awaiting new orders.
Oh my. Right, so let's see what this does. Additional supply, bit of command and supply here. Let's take the command and supply.
Do any of you require assistance expanding?
Let's see where you... Oh my.
The Turian blob is getting going. But I'm suffering from my early lab choice. I should have picked differently.
Structure
Or
complete.
planned this out a little better.
How many planets do you currently have, my Turian friend?
1.
What's going on there? What's going on with that?
So the council can colonize all garden world types without research.
Uh-huh.
But they can't colonize anything else until they have research.
Research complete.
And at the moment, this is a very preliminary thing and may change as we test things. But at the moment, their tech to unlock colonization of sort of the trash planets, if you like, the planetoids and the terrestrials and toxics and so on, is actually in the 2nd tier of civilian research. Which means you can get it very early if you build 2 civilian labs, but that means no military labs at the start. I chose 1 military and 1 civilian, so I can only colonize gas giants and garden worlds at the moment.
I bet you're delighted about that.
I'm just about to get my first gas giant and my 2nd civilian lab so I can colonize stuff.
I do
I've
note...
played out the militias on a lot of them.
I do note that it's quite expensive, if you will, to take any labs whatsoever. They're worth double the logistic slots of nearly any of the other structures, so you really do have to make a choice there.
Yes. But at the same time, we only have 5 tiers of research
Planetary
compared
upgrade.
to the 8 in normal sense. So each lab is a lot more
Structure
important.
complete.
And when I'm designing a faction, I try to make sure that there's several different viable options for which first 2 labs you want to build.
Colonizable planet detected.
So you don't always have
More
to build
palladium
the
is
same,
required.
like always 2 military or always 2 civilian.
Research complete.
I note that the System Alliance are very credits driven as an economy.
Yeah,
Alliance colony ship is standing
but they can
by.
also generate quite a lot of credits with all of the planet population
colonized.
increases.
Engines at full.
As you understand, I'm too busy selling drugs to my planets to really worry about their population.
I want to say that's nice, but I'm not sure that it is.
Well,
carry on.
When you see my credit stream, you'll understand.
More ESO.
Drugs are important.
Yeah, mercs revolve entirely around credits. They still collect metal and or palladium and ESO, And they still use it in very small amounts, but mostly they're all about the
Research
credits.
complete.
I got you.
Colonizable planet detected.
Hey, Echo, one small problem I'm noticing
Are
here.
under attack.
Just
We're
for
not
future.
doing live bug reporting, are we? Please no.
Structure complete.
Go,
Just-
shoot.
take when you get a free chance, just take a look at the entrepreneurs tech tree for the
FTL jump
mercs.
complete.
I'll leave that
Upgrades are
I'll leave that
required.
there for now.
Okay.
Heavy frigate receiving your transmission.
Oh,
Geneva class.
All right, time to up my red sand quality. Can't be selling my population's cheap
Opening
cheap
fire on
unfiltered
hostile
drugs.
vessel. Attacking designated
yes, bring the
target.
big boom booms to bear.
How you guys doing?
Structure
see here.
complete.
Decent culture stream. Police station.
Oh yeah, culture. I should do something about that.
You're
Yeah.
excreting culture normally.
The hero spawner station, name pending, extrudes a small amount of culture from the very beginning of the game. You may notice that your colonies will start off at a mere 35% allegiance. However, in general, they can all get up to about 100. with
Okay, good
culture.
to know.
Structure complete.
So
And that, of course,
it serves
increases
to
your income.
Scale the economy up over time a little better, and it's also important to make the Merc faction function.
It's at times like these I wish I was commanding a frigate.
Well, I got all my choke points set up, so that's good.
I just colonized about 5
More
planets at
credits
once,
are
as I
required.
got my tech.
Heavy frigate reporting as requested, sir.
So you
Colonizable
did.
planet detected. Structure complete.
Geneva class cruisers on standby.
Everest class awaiting new orders.
Heading set.
Right, let's see. What else was I doing? I have no memory. No memory at all.
I need more money.
Planetary upgrade
Oh,
complete.
as he advances
More
through the
credits are
mercenaries' economic tree, he'll start
Structure complete.
being able to sell more and more
Colonizable planet
aggressive
detected.
drugs. One of them kills population, and it triggers the ally under attack voice. Just so you know in advance.
Good to know.
Yeah, it seems like anytime your population takes damage, the announcer seems to immediately think that your planets are under attack. So every time, it's become a bit of a meme when you're playing as the mercs that
Getting ready
you're just
for FTL.
consistently under siege by yourself from drugs.
Ah, the war on drugs.
Colonizable planet detected.
No, the war of drugs.
Structure complete. Structure complete.
Now, as I'm hammering buttons, I must ask the question: have you played with artifacts at all?
No. Right
Our
now,
forces are
there's a
under
lot of
attack.
stock ones still in there, and they don't do anything. So,
Okay.
while
Stop
this
searching for
advanced,
artifacts.
does have a bonus to searching for artifacts, and normally they should be doing a lot of that. Don't bother. They don't do anything yet.
Hammer 'em hard.
Echo, are the mercs neutral with Omega or no?
Only if you get, I think it's Aria's Omega tech, for which you'll need to be on the Aria faction.
Alliance vessel reporting.
Getting it right now.
Heavy frigate reporting.
Let's see if I can knock over the Eclipse.
Research complete.
A slightly larger fleet.
Research complete.
Now that I've set the foundation, I need to actually
Allied
get my
forces
economy
are
in
under
order.
attack.
frigate reporting.
Yeah, when we were saying earlier that the Merc's economy requires hyper-aggression,
Heavy
it's to
frigate
essentially
reporting
keep
as
you from
requested,
stalling
sir.
out.
I see.
Because stalling will happen if you don't expand quick enough.
Commander? Heavy frigate reporting. Heavy frigate reporting as requested, sir.
Colonizable planet detected. Research complete.
Oh, run! There are so many naughty men.
Alliance colony ship is
Where'd you get attacked?
Gas giant. I'm gonna call it Aberdaron.
Aberhalden.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of name lists we haven't sorted out yet as well.
More credits are required.
Dreadnought der Everest-Klasse meldet sich zum Dienst.
Just one or two too many enemy ships there
I should
for my
probably
current
stop
fleet to
watching
handle.
Your fleet and watching my fleet for a moment as my poor cruisers get wrecked.
Let's take a look and see. I mean,
Geneva class has arrived.
looks like you're doing okay.
Yeah. Turian ships are not the toughest. In general, you want to try and avoid losing cruisers early on in the game.
Where did you get the inspiration for the Undaunted?
It's actually from a piece of Mass Effect 1 concept art for Turian ship designs.
That's interesting.
We decided to, because with the rebuild, in the use of the Systems Alliance, it kind of stripped out or made redundant
Class has arrived.
essentially what was the old backbone of the Council. So we decided to kind of bump up the Turians a bit and give them a slightly larger presence out of the gate. So there's a new Turian frigate design and a new Turian carrier design.
Walking carrier reporting.
I'm just having a good look through your stuff. I see that you've got some blood pack vessels joining your fleet.
Yeah, plus all of my most of my planets are defended by the militias they had at the start of the game,
Geneva class
which
has
is my
arrived.
one saving grace right now because I'm getting scouted by every
Geneva
faction
class
observers.
cruiser is on standby. Heading set.
Research complete.
Initiating FTL procedures. I could bill you for that, right?
Taking this garden world has been a slog.
Commander?
Walking carrier is on standby.
Ooh, Trident solo fighters, Glyve interceptors.
Kowloon class reporting.
Should probably call them Glaive, really, shouldn't I? That would be
Yeah,
accurate. Oh, I'm sticking to my guns. They're Glaives.
You've selected the slightly larger vessel.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, we just powered up all 6 cylinders. It's not a big engine, okay? Preparing for FTL.
Initiating FTL procedures.
Ooh, I used to have a lot more cruisers than this.
sad.
The dead will be remembered.
You've selected the slightly larger vessel.
Or not. I mean, you know.
In
Whatever.
Bereitschaft, Kommandant.
Ah, they're Turians. They died doing their job.
Yep.
They died doing what they loved. Calibrations.
They did indeed. I don't have that ability in yet, but it will be.
Good.
More palladium is required.
Ah, no, I don't want that. Pilates are required?
Colonizable planet detected.
Now let's go for a little more civvy.
Currently, the Alliance uses the Cerberus announcer
Heavy
voice.
frigate
We
reporting.
haven't really had time to get new voices in for the new factions yet.
Hmm.
They will have custom voices eventually, just not yet.
Getting ready for FTL. Stand by.
Oh, and of course the Alliance will have a full suite of abilities on their capital ships as well. But as we were discussing earlier, abilities take a while to do.
They sure as heck do.
Yeah, I've been focused on getting the factions working first. Then abilities later.
I can concur that that's probably a
Let
more
me
helpful
guess.
way of going about it.
Somebody stole your sweet roll.
Yes, as
Did I
much
just
as-
hear let me guess somebody stole your sweet roll as well? Oh my lord.
I told you, it was 2013. Skyrim was still cool. I don't want to hear it.
Commander?
Sometimes, diary, I don't know.
Good times.
Colonizable planet detected. Structure complete.
Can I ask a question about Hadano? I can see a green thing to the left of it. Is that, does that signify something special?
They found an artifact.
Ah, okay.
Heavy frigate reporting.
Yes. Not that it does them any good right now. Naturally, we'll have
Heavy frigate
all the
reporting as
exploration stuff
requested,
with
sir.
stat bonuses and artifacts. Eventually.
FTL jump complete.
It's just a matter of priority, because, you know, like he was just saying, you got to kind of start from the ground up. And this current build, we
vessel
literally did
now.
just that. We started with a fresh build of Sims, and just rebuilt it from the ground up. We just had the code we were using was from back in our Trinity days, so it was necessary to kind of glass it and
Update,
start over.
modernise, strip out the things that were no longer required. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I had textures still in the texture folder from like Trinity versions of the mod, so.
You've selected the slightly larger vessel.
Bereit machen für FTL.
So, Set, the main reason I split the techs for neutral militia and
Colonizable
neutral
planet
pirates,
detected.
or allied militia and allied pirates, is because Omega is colonized. You can't just steal Omega. You have to actually take it. And now
Don't
you
tell me
can't.
that. Stop it. I can't take it now. We're friendly.
Exactly.
Supplies has arrived.
I'll remember that.
Morehardchoices.com.
Oh no. Anytime he says he'll remember that, it means I'm getting a massive bounty on me next game.
When we started doing the new maps, he unfortunately still new to the whole process, and I got stuck in a cluster with almost no resources.
So he blamed me, naturally.
Yeah,
Heavy frigate
I
reporting.
still haven't completely forgiven him for that.
I'm sure deep inside you forgive him.
Heavy frigate reporting as
I
requested,
wouldn't counter
sir.
it.
I have a really good memory, and I'm very stubborn.
Heavy frigate reporting as requested, sir. Heavy frigate reporting as requested, sir. frigate reporting.
Heading to your designated system.
Allied forces.
Enemy frigate reporting.
Take that, you merc scum!
Run into some difficulties, I take it.
Reporting as requested, sir.
His enemies have.
Walking carrier reporting.
This is my now.
Structure complete.
Oh, I know that you lose your transport even when you are taking asteroids, crewing asteroids. That's interesting.
Yeah, I might change that for the Athabasca. That's the legacy of the Kodiak.
Heavy frigate
Cerberus
reporting as
uses a
requested,
Kodiak
sir.
for what the other factions use the Athabasca for.
Mm-hmm.
And given that it's faster and a lot cheaper, I decided that it would be fitting for that one to be lost on capture.
Because Kodiaks usually only hold up to 10 people.
Grab this
I will
transport.
not take an arrow
Sell
to the
more
knee.
drugs.
Yes, sir. I'll see what I can do. I've been looking for a new career lately.
I can bill you for that, right?
I think I just got my... Yep, I'm researching my arms trade.
Alliance colony ship is standing by.
That'll make me some real money.
Making the mercenary economy was quite
There
enjoyable,
had
I have to
better
say.
not be reapers
I
there.
just went through and tried to come up with
Alliance colony ship is
every
standing by.
possible criminal revenue stream I could think of.
Drugs, slaves, weapons.
Information trading.
Yeah.
They have a tech that allows them to sell Omnitool mods, which naturally have spyware riddled throughout them, which gives you vision over your culture.
I like that.
Complete.
Alliance vessel reporting. Moving there now. Cruiser is mobile.
There we are. Had a brief little skip there.
Well, we're still here. It's all as well.
It is. I think it's got something to do with that. Something to do with that seaborne net of New Zealand's.
Probably. Yeah, one thing you might also notice is garden worlds in particular have a lot of upgrade stages.
I'm not sure that I've come across a god.
You should have a volcanic garden world, though.
Oh, so I do.
It's not quite as good, because obviously giant volcanoes all over the planet is bad. Unless you're Krogan.
I quite like it.
You can live anywhere in that matter.
FTL procedures.
But yeah, having the extra upgrade levels helps to make the garden worlds feel a little more important and helps you to have a longer planetary improvement cycle, I guess.
Do you want to explain the infantry system? Because we're going to have to start sieging planets at some point.
Oh boy. This will be fun.
It's not going to take a hot minute, is it?
This is one of the larger departures from
FTL
normal
jump
sins.
complete.
In Mass Effect, in the Codex, it specifically refers to planetary bombardment being extremely rare. By virtue of firing even a small mass accelerator at a planet tends to create giant nuclear explosions, or the equivalent thereof.
In Bereitschaft, Kommandant.
Now,
Yes.
generally that's bad, if you want to live there. And of course, you also have a lot of focus on ground combat in Mass Effect.
Structure complete.
So we got rid of the
Very true.
standard planetary bombardment system entirely.
Geneva-class cruisers on standby.
Instead, we have an infantry system,
Research complete.
which revolves around abilities that summon essentially marker structures that also have abilities. And this simulates the infantry on the planet, and you have both defensive and offensive infantry, and your ships can generally land infantry that will perform both purposes. It both helps to establish that Mass Effect feel, but also allows a bit more counterplay in planetary attacks. So rather than it just being win the fleet battle, right-click the planet, win in like 30 seconds usually. You can jump into the planet and then send your ships up close to land the infantry. And one of the elements of this is it doesn't tie up your ships in sieging the planet. And your infantry will do their thing for a certain duration, depending on the type of infantry. You might need to land some more infantry.
Research complete.
But the enemy can also come in and potentially land infantry. And Cerberus, for example, has the Kodiak shuttle, which can land small squads of infantry.
Got anything? Just say the word.
And it's very fast.
Heading out, Commander.
And very cheap. And very quick to build. So Cerberus, if you find yourself suddenly under attack, you can quickly,
spam defend.
Yeah, spam a bunch of Kodiaks
Standing by.
and send them over to reinforce a planet.
It's definitely an interesting way of going about it.
And in the process, I've also tried to make sure as much information as possible shows up on the planet stat card. So you can, at a glance, see at the very least the defensive elements of that planet.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because of the way Sins works, it doesn't show the infantry damage per second on the planet. Because Sins is...
Got anything? Just say the word.
We well know.
I can bill you for that, right?
Sins does what it wants to, doesn't it?
If there are Reapers
does.
here, I'm going to be very, very angry and dead.
It's got its own
very
thing going.
mad.
I think I'm finally catching up with you guys when it comes to colonization.
Research complete.
Finally.
Well, you're catching up with him. You're not catching up with me.
Oh yeah, you're over there at Patia, I
Our
see.
reinforcements have
Patia.
arrived.
So have you managed to take the gas giant? I didn't think I could colonize them.
Yes, you should be able to.
Oh,
although you might
sausages!
need a tech.
We allow colonization of gas giants because gas giants in Mass Effect are the main source of sublight drive fuel. So there has to be some kind of infrastructure in place to, obviously live in or around said planets.
Oh, I suppose I should colonize it then.
There are Reapers here.
Yeah, gas giants are quite important for your economy. They don't have a lot of population.
Very mad.
In fact, they have basically zero population.
Transmitting
But
call
they
for
have
fire.
logistics, civilian permits, I should say, equal to government.
Heading out, Commander.
Research complete.
I should be able to get a live ship soon.
Ooh. What was that whole thing about the troll ship?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is this another thing that you're not going to tell me about? I think you're going to tell me about it. I think you want to tell me about it.
No, we're kind of keeping that card in our back pocket.
Oh God. I'm not going to like what's going to happen, am I?
I'm sure Echo would be happy to demonstrate. Perhaps after we're done recording. I don't want anything on the record.
Commander?
I'm going to be very mad, aren't I?
That or extremely happy. It really, there's a lot of context that kind of get lost in translation there. So.
Please stand by.
This is probably not the right time to tell you this, but in the rush to get the build binned, I actually don't have the thing we're talking about implemented?
No!
No, that makes it even better. Now no one can access it.
Our forces are under attack.
I had to take it out of the build list because the testers were abusing it.
That doesn't sound like testers. They would. That's not what they're like. What are you even talking about?
I told them. I said, don't abuse this when you're trying to test seriously, but no.
The second that you ask testers not to do things, that's when they start doing it. You must know this.
I'm quickly learning this.
I don't press this button. Press.
Let me guess.
I've managed to get a Raya live ship up at my
This is
homework.
broken. I've warned you that it's broken. Don't press this button, otherwise your game will break. 4 seconds later, you'll get a report through saying that their game is broken and they don't know why. They know why.
I really hope our testers watch this.
They know exactly why it's happened.
They know what they did. Yes, well, I got a Raya live ship up at my homeworld if you want to go and check it out.
I do.
It has a new model.
Looking at the wrong man. Here we are. It is. Little sausage.
Complete with rotating ball.
We
Sounds
also
uncomfortable.
We also fixed the issue with the ball disappearing between saves. We have
do you have it where it rotates once and then it'll refresh and then so on and so forth?
No, it's a system where in which, depending on whether or not the ship's in combat or not, the ball will either lock or spin. So if you do have your ball missing, all you have to do is enter combat, and you'll be good to go again.
I gotcha.
Allied forces are under attack.
So, this is also a very interesting feature because it's actually a proof of concept for something else I came up with that allows us to eventually animate the Reaper legs.
Eventually.
It's going to be a while, but the Reaper legs will eventually be animated.
I'm hearing a lot of words I don't agree with. What's this eventually business?
Structure.
You want it now. You want the Reaper legs to move
Last
now.
week, please. Ideally.
Research complete. Planetary upgrade complete.
London heavy cruiser. I'll have one of those. London calling. Galang-a-lang-a-lang.
Alliance colony ship is standing by.
You come over here.
I am not getting paid enough for this.
So another one of my obsessions
Planet colonized.
when it comes to game design is making sure that nothing is ever rendered obsolete from your build lists. So the London, for example, is very good, but the Geneva will still be useful even at the end game, as will the Hastings and the Asian Corps.
Hey, if one of you has a fleet, I could desperately use some help right now.
Heavy frigate
What was this
receiving
about
your
expanding
transmission.
really fast and
Whereabouts do you need this
not
help?
needing us?
The planet right next to my mass
Planetary
relay.
upgrade.
Oh, look, there's pink men who are almost exactly the same colour as you are attacking you.
Relocating vessel now.
Alright, fleet's on the way.
Thank you.
It'll probably take a hot minute though, so don't you know. I wouldn't advise on holding your breath.
Mass relays have accelerated travel, so it may not take as long as you think.
That's useful. And
Those have
and
very
another
small
new
red
feature we've
ones.
touched upon. Ooh.
More ESO is required.
More ESO is required.
Yeah.
Structure complete.
It's been, the mass relay thing's actually been so long from the rebuild now that I'd forgotten that was a new feature. Yes, we've reworked mass relays in this build compared to the last build.